Hello, I am Red Mage, and welcome to a Magic the Gathering video featuring the color red. In today's video, we're playing the deck that is taking over Standard, Temur Ramp. This deck is incredibly consistent in executing its game plan, which is ramping into giant fireballs. The key card is Worldsoul's Rage. For a red, a green, and X more mana, you deal X damage to any target and put X lands from your graveyard or hand onto the battlefield tapped. It is both a ramp spell and a payoff. You can use it to kill a small creature and ramp a little in the early game, as well as finish off your opponent in a glorious blaze to end the game. Aftermath Analyst also ramps us by returning lands from the graveyard to the battlefield. Nissa ramps us by adding mana when a land enters the battlefield under our control, as well as giving us either an Analyst or a second copy of Nissa when a second land enters the battlefield under our control in a turn. Analyst and Nissa are great together. Nissa often gets back the 6 mana to cast and activate the Analyst, plus more. All of these cards work perfectly with the common cycle of 3-color basic fetch lands from Streets of New Capenna. They go to the graveyard so they can be recurred, and they provide 2 triggers in 1 land for Nissa. Conveniently, especially for the best of 1 metagame, they also gain life. Because all of our mana-producing lands are basics, we can take advantage of Virtue of Strength, tripling our mana for some truly massive fireballs. We have Fallaji Archaeologist, which finds our Worldsoul's Rage and fills our graveyard. We have Shigeki and Colossal Skyturtle, which each provide graveyard value, and together form an infinite loop of recursion. Rounding out the deck, we have Memory Deluge for card advantage that's also good when it's milled into the graveyard. And Kellan Inquisitive Prodigy, which can ramp, hate on artifacts, provide card advantage, not to mention a flying vigilant 3/4 is great on both offense and defense. And then sweepers. Ill-timed Explosion draws cards and or sweeps the board. The flexibility is incredibly valuable. And because we're playing best of 1, we're playing 1 Vampire's Vengeance and 1 Into the Fire. In best of 3, you would want a 3rd Archaeologist and a 4th Virtue, with some Vampire's Vengeance in the sideboard. But since we expect to encounter more aggro in best of 1, we're playing these, hedging slightly with Into the Fire, which can be used for card filtering as well as sweeping the board. This deck goes way over the top of everything, getting some spectacular wins. But it is not easy to play. I had a 56% win rate in top 1% Mythic, but I'm confident that could have been well over 60% if I was able to find all of the right lines in the moment. In the second game of this video, I missed lethal in a spot where it just didn't occur to me to double check the math before making the quote-unquote safe play. All that is to say that this is a deck that rewards thoughtfulness and especially practice. I hope you enjoy the gameplay, and we'll be back at the end to wrap up. We go first, we've got the Vampire's Vengeance and 2 Memory Deluge to refuel. Looks pretty good to me. If we have to, we can get a land with this, but this deck is literally half lands. So Vampire's Vengeance should be good against this deck. I think we go ahead and get another blue here while we're at it, just to guarantee that we can Deluge on 4 after we Vengeance on 3. Is this mono black? I'm not sure what this deck is. There could be some sacrifice stuff going on. Okay, we are very glad to have waited for that. I don't see any reason to not just Deluge here. We could play the Analyst, but we're not working towards some super specific payoff. It would just, you know. Okay, that's fine. I guess we want this and this. We'll probably Analyst, activate it the next turn, get it back with the Virtue, something like that. Do an ill-timed explosion when they've built up more of a board again. Seems good. Ooh, into the fire. Alright, so we're getting another green with this. Okay, well, we've got a lot of stuff in the graveyard. I mean, we can just get it back with the Virtue. I don't think we need to waste our turtle. That's fine. That's fine, too. The problem with all this stuff that they're doing is that it doesn't really get them anywhere. So I think here, I think we're going to Virtue the Analyst, but we're out of lands for the turn, so I think we want to Deluge first to get some lands. Okay, well, we'll take the Shigeki, and then Cabaretti. And we'll get red. Get the Analyst back. Next turn we can Analyst and activate it in the same turn. Okay. Presumably they're going to take our Analyst. Or they have to take the Shigeki, actually. But we also have the Skyturtle, so there's not a whole lot they can do. I'm curious to see what they're going to search for in the second chapter. That it's possible they have some kind of silver bullet that we should be scared of. I don't think there's really any value to activating it now, in case they want to do their Tenacious Underdog. If they're playing Cruelty, surely they have something big, but it might not be, you know, that much bigger than a Sheoldred or a Aquazotz. Yep. That is totally fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. They can really take whatever they want. We have 2 sweepers, so... Alright, let's ramp. Oops. That was what we were trying to copy. I wasn't paying too much attention there, but that'll be okay. Okay. Well. So we can sweep their board here by casting Into the Fire and then Ill-Timed Explosion, but we don't really need to, right? And they're just going to get something back next turn. So I think we wait on that. We probably just play Virtue, right? And get crazy with stuff. I think we wait. We're at no risk of dying or anything. Let's wait. And that way we can Shigeki, if they want to like target our turtle or something, we can Shigeki it back at instant speed. Alright, so we want to get Turtle, Vengeance, Nissa. So we need 8 mana. Oh, non-legendary. Right. Well, that's okay. I guess we'll just get another Analyst then. Glozats. I don't think we worry about the bat for now. We'll wait and see if they cast something else. So I guess we Deluge plus get Shigeki. Alright. We'll just take 2 Worldsoul's Rage. We have way more than enough. We'll just QQ it. That's 42. So X equals 40. There you go. You really see the power there of this deck against a mid-range deck. They literally got to search their deck for any card, the best card they could possibly find against our deck, and it had no impact. Look at our hand. This is ridiculous. This is a good hand. We've got removal and ramp. That's kind of what we're doing. Well, this Vengeance might be a little slow for the Warden here, but we'll see. Okay. Well, they can activate it, so that's bad for us. Unfortunately, I don't think we can play the Analyst this turn. We've got to guarantee we can Vengeance on the next turn. Alright, that's a Convoke. Well, at this point, I think we wait, and actually, maybe that was a huge mistake. Maybe what I needed to do was play the Hideout so I could Explosion on turn 4. That might be bad, but we'll see. I want to let them play that even if it means extra activations. The problem is if they have a reinforcements, they can just say go here. Yeah. Oh, also the epic here is a vampire. So, yeah. But also the second epic here in their hand is a vampire, so waiting to bait it out isn't that great anyway. Okay. I mean, here I think we just Nissa plus Analyst. I guess we're getting more green here, especially since we have the Virtue in hand. Alright, well, we've got a good graveyard going. If we can make it through this next turn, which we should be able to. I mean, we'll take 7 if they activate the Warden and attack with the Knight and the Warden. That's not good, but we'll gain 5 back. Ditching the Epicure. Okay. Alright, well, we get the theater as well. It doesn't really matter what we copy, I don't think. We're just going to make random colors here to save time because it doesn't really matter. Okay. We have another Nissa in our hand. We can just sweep the board here. That seems like the safest thing to do. Even though, you know, we're giving up kind of our combo, I'm going to discard the Virtue, make sure we get everything. And then, actually we can Nissa, Analyst, and activate. And they give up. Alright, this hand is slow, but I don't think it's a mulligan. Restless Vince, eh? I'm going to start getting blue, because I think we want to play this first, most likely. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get red with this one, just to make sure we have Vampire's Vengeance as soon as possible. Alright, so this is Disguise. Yeah, and Vampire's Vengeance, not particularly useful here. So we'll do this, see what we can get. Nothing. So we could just lose on the spot right here, depending on what their hand is like and what this card is. There goes the Vampire's Vengeance. Okay, well, I mean... that could have been a lot worse. Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? We just... Nissa, Brokers Hideout, play the Analyst. And we're getting blue at this to have double blue for Memory Deluge. Alright, well, we're going to have a ton of mana next turn, maybe. Okay. I'm definitely double blocking the Bone Brute. I guess if they attack all... I think so still. We'll have the chance to eat the Kamano. If they have like a Colossal Sword, it's too risky to... Okay. Well, that is not ideal, but we're protecting our life total a little bit. I mean, I guess we just play both creatures again. Okay. Going for it. So, we're gaining a ton of life here. Not a ton, but 5, 6. We would take... So I'm thinking about double blocking this Restless Vents. We would take 10... go to 3 and gain 6. Go to 9. We still die to a Colossal Sword, but what are we going to do? We got to get something going. I mean, I guess we can do this over again. I guess we're gonna get all the lands out of our deck this way. Okay, so we've got 16 mana. We're mana neutral to go through this cycle again. So we do that just to gain the life. In fact, slightly more than mana neutral because we do have a couple of basics left in the deck. I guess I should have been adding red mana in case I get a sweeper, but luckily there's still an untapped mountain. Alright, so we have 18 mana. I guess we do this first. That's what we're looking for. I guess we go through this cycle one more time just to make sure we don't die. Now we're at 15 mana. So I think we can go ahead and Memory Deluge, and then we'll Ill-Timed Explosion. We'll have a better idea of what we want to discard then. And we'll take Shigeki and Memory Deluge. And then Ill-Timed Explosion. We'll discard Memory Deluge and Brokers Hideout. And then we can Memory Deluge with the rest of our mana. We'll take a Worldsoul's Rage and a Virtue. Those are the things we are looking for. And I believe they should just be straight up dead here. That is 27. So that's 25. I'll just submit 0. No reason to be rude. And we're back to wrap up. This deck is incredibly powerful, and as long as you're willing to practice with it, it's definitely something that you can rank up with as well. As far as changes to the deck, I think it's definitely fine just the way that it is. I'm not super happy with Into the Fire and Vampire's Vengeance as 3 mana sweepers. I would prefer to play Brotherhood's End, just because I found that the third damage would often be relevant. But I don't think there's any way you can realistically count on having double red on turn 3 often enough to play Brotherhood's End. So I think sticking with these is the way to go. You could always just cut them, play the third Archaeologist and the fourth Virtue, and try to rely on just executing the primary game plan as quickly as possible as a way of beating aggro rather than sweeping the board. Or you could play 1-for-1 removal spells like a Braid in that spot instead. I don't think it really matters all that much. In Best of 1, you generally are rewarded for slanting your deck towards beating aggro. But as long as you're emotionally okay with losing to Boros a lot, then I don't know that your win rate is super helped out by playing these versus just playing Archaeologist and Virtue. If you play this deck, let me know in the comments what the biggest value of X you've gotten with Worldsoul's Rage. I'll see you in the next one.